Okay, here's how you go through the similar polygons assignment. Part 1, you've been asked to design a stained glass window for this city. It must include the following. The picture must have a design or theme. And number 2, you must choose at least 5 different polygons. Now you can obviously choose more, but no curves. Everything has to be a straight line. And then it says use graph paper 8.5 by 11 and a straight edge to sketch your model. I don't have the graph paper right in front of me, but I'm just going to kind of show you what I'm talking about on, just a piece of scratch paper. I'll sketch it out for you so you have an idea of what to do, what to expect. So if we have our paper, okay, number 4 says each polygon label the vertices and measure the sides and so on. Okay, so what it's asking us to do is create the shape. So if I were to create a shape, I would say, okay, there's a rectangle, and here's a couple triangles right here. Okay, and over here, I'm going to have another shape and just do something like that. So you get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm just doing a whole bunch of different shapes and designing just something completely simple. Don't make it too hard, okay? So there we have just a couple shapes, and you're going to want 5 different shapes. Right there I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 different shapes. The triangles don't count. You've got to find a 5th type of shape. So what I'm going to do here, it says in part 2, it says, and I'll zoom in so you can see that better. After you complete your model, so that's what we did on that paper right there. So after we complete our model, the city asks you to provide them with actual measurements of your design. Since the final piece measures 170 by 220, you need to provide the city with exact measurements of your design and each figure so the city can buy all of the materials. Keep in mind your original piece of paper is 8.5 by 11. Now it wants to know, what are the ratios? How would we make this work? Well, if we look, we're going to just find out what their measurements, how they compare. So 170 divided by 8.5, 20. So we know that that side is 20 times bigger. If I do 220 divided by 11, so I'm just doing the width and now the length of the paper, they're both 20. So that means the final product is 20 times bigger than our paper. And again, I've just sketched it here. You'd have it on graph paper. So it says, okay, we've got it. We need to increase everything by 20. So I'm going to measure this. And in this case, I'm just going to measure in centimeters. I mean, you can easily do it in inches. It doesn't matter. Maybe I'll just do it in inches. So right here, I'm going to say that's 5.5. And so that would be 3. Okay. And then you're going to take the ruler, put it here, and say, okay, this one right here is 2.5. And that'll be 2.5. And if I did it right, that one will also be 2.5. Yep. So you're going to go through and you're going to label every single line just like that, measure the whole thing. So this line is 8.5 because it's the whole paper. Okay, so we have this. Now it wants to know the actual sizes. Well, we have to label them, okay? With this, for our answers, we've got to be able to say, all right, this is side 1, and I'm going to do this kind of different here with a pencil that works. So this is side 1, 2, 3, 4 of that shape. Okay, this is side 1, 2, 3, 4 of this shape, and so on. And so what you're going to do is then you're going to say, okay, here is an example, whatever shape I have, I'll do a little, you know, table, and I'll say, okay, side 1 of polygon 1. So let's say this is a rectangle. Side 1 was, or a pentagon, excuse me. Side 1 was 5 inches. It needs to be increased a certain amount, and you go through. So in our case, I would say, okay, it's 5 inches, and we need to know how big x is. Well, let's say it's out of, 11, so it's, times 20. So you do the math. I mean, they're going through this a lot harder than it needs to be. It's just 5 times 20, because everything is 20 times bigger. Okay, so 5 times 20 equals 100 inches. Okay, so that length, side 1, is 100 inches. Okay, and then you just go through and do side 2, and side 2, let's just say it was, I don't know, side 2 was also 5 inches. Times 20, so 100 inches. Side 3, 7 inches. Well, what's 7 times 20? That's 140 inches. Okay, so you're just scaling everything up by 20, and that's the final size. So that's how you do it. You just label each side, name each side. So go through and say, hey, this is my rectangle, this is my rhombus, this is my trapezoid, this is my triangle, and then label each side. And you can circle the sides, put them all on the inside, so like that. So I can say, hey, that's side 1, 2, 3, 4 of this shape, and then I can say side 1, the original is 2.5. So the model, so the actual size is going to be 20 times 2.5, which should be 50. Okay, so I would say this shape, and I would do my table, and I would say side 1, the model is 2.5. Okay, so side, model, and actual. Well, the actual, if the side 1 is 2.5 inches, then the actual is 50 inches. Okay, it's times 20. Okay, so that's how you do this assignment. Hopefully this helps. Don't put too much worry into ratios and stuff. Just find out how much bigger the other shape's going to be. It's going to be 20 times bigger. Now draw it, measure it, and then just times everything by 20 and create your table. So hopefully this helps you simplify the problem down a little bit. If not, let me know. And let me know in more detail where you might be struggling, and I'll see what I can do.